Okay, today let's sit down and let's do whatever we need to do to sort of ground ourselves and settle ourselves a little bit. This is something you should develop as part of your practice. No matter what meditation you're deciding to do today, whatever day that is, you want to have learned a few skills that move you into the present moment a little bit. And the way we teach that generally is finding some way of directly connecting with the sensory present moment. Something that's peaceful and quiet, that's easy for you to focus on, and that you can really feel what it feels like right now. So I like to focus on my butt on the seat. I like to focus sometimes on my breath in my belly. Some people find it more invigorating and more concentrating to focus on the breath in the nose. But you can focus on anything. You could focus on the sound. That's a beautiful way to drop into thing, or any of the rest states. But let's focus on the ground or the breath in the belly, unless you have a preference. And what are we doing here at the beginning? We have a whole day. We have our memories. We have our goals. Those are all fine. Don't even try to get rid of them. But just take a little bit of effort to actually feel what the breath feels like in the belly right now. Don't control the breath. Don't try to breathe better or different. Can you notice when the breath begins? Where does it begin? Can you get very interested and curious and specific about where it begins in the belly? Can you notice when the in-breath ends? Where's the last moment of movement on the in-breath? Can you notice as the out-breath begins? All without controlling it, just waiting to see what happens next. We're not trying to stop anything else in our experience. Maybe we have emotions, or maybe we have thoughts. Maybe even our environment is noisier than we'd like it to be. None of that can fully stop us from just moving our attention to the sensations in our belly as we breathe in and out. And if you really can practice not controlling the breath, waiting for the breath to come in and out, you'll start to notice a calming in the nervous system. Why is this? Because for a second, you're moving yourself out of the stream of your narrative life, which is by its nature dramatic. You're moving yourself out of the drama stream. You're doing this in a few ways. One, you're getting down lower on the ladder, that is dropping underneath narrative reality and just noticing the present moment sensory experience. You can label it feel, so that might quiet your talking mind a little bit. Feel. But you're also doing it by not controlling the breath. That is, you're observing something without trying to make it better or worse, and therefore you are slowly letting go of doing. The only doing at this beginning is controlling your attention. This is so different from our normal operation in which we are doing something every microsecond, trying to adjust ourselves to be more and more comfortable. Can you notice subtly when you're controlling the breath? I mean, sometimes it's not subtle at all. So let go of that control. And then as you start to let go of the control, you might notice every now and then you get a little bit more controlling and you get a little less controlling. That's a way of noticing yourself doing. It's like watching a sporting event where you're sort of like rooting and it's like you're trying to do something to make the team you want win, even though you have no control over it. But there's still an inside sense of trying, right? An effort inside. And that's a very overt version of it. Can you notice that subtle thing happening in your body as you focus on your breath? There's a kind of rooting interest you have that is often subconscious or even unconscious. And so whenever you can notice that, just let that be there. Notice how it arises and let go of it. Let go of it doesn't mean you have to shut it down. Just the noticing of it and the letting go of controlling of that aspect of yourself will be letting go of it. Just see it as it is. Now, you may want to stay here longer than we are going to, and that's fine. Always. You can come back and do this rest of this meditation anytime. It's going to be recorded. And you can also do this a little bit longer and then join us when you feel a little more settled. When you start to feel that experience of, yes, I am doing a lot less now. There's the breath and I'm focused on it, but everything else I'm starting to just let go. You're putting down effort for a while and you're just translating what little effort you have into staying, bringing your attention back. And it's always worthwhile, if you are doing this, to notice the effect it has on the rest of your body and nervous system. Almost invariably, if you start to let go of control, you also start to get more relaxed, at least at first. This is so pleasurable for me that I could just stay here all day, but I want to take us somewhere else. So we're going to move on. So now we're just going to switch into open awareness. What does that mean? We're going to reduce our effort even more. So now we're not going to even control where our attention moves. So our attention now is allowed to look at, experience anything. Now, if you got super settled on your breath, your attention may just stay still without you doing anything. That can happen. And that's fine. Doesn't need to go anywhere. But you're hearing my voice, so I bet your attention goes to my voice every now and then. It doesn't have to, but I bet it does. And you notice that. Now I'm going to fall quiet for a while here, but we've done this practice before. So just notice what your attention lands on. And we're just going to do this for 3 minutes here or so. And if it's a feeling sensation, either emotional or not, you just label it feel. If it's something you hear, like my voice, or a thought in your head talking to yourself, label it hear. And if it's something you see in your imagined mind or like the back of your eyelids, then you label it see. And so we've reduced our effort. The only effort left now is to label and not get lost in our thoughts, in our experiences. And just notice if you've increased your effort from the previous practice, because really, this should ultimately be even less effort. At first, you kind of need to increase the effort to make sure you're doing the things, labeling correctly. But then you can notice that, oh, I don't even need to control my attention. I just have to sit here and not get lost. So just as you wait for the breath to arise when you're focused on the breath, here you just wait for your attention to move and move and move. And you just notice where it lands. Be very useful here to think of as a kind of honesty. Be fully honest with what your attention actually is on. Where am I actually focused right now? I say that because what you'll find is more than you think you're focused on yourself. And that self is a thing we often pretend we're not focused on. We can't see it. And so you need to have practiced a little bit with the see, hear, and feel inward to be able to do this. But once you have, then you notice, oh boy, I'm often turning my attention back on myself and judging myself or evaluating. And we do that by see, hear, and feel. Okay, so hang out there as long as you want. But when you're ready, I want you to just step back. You sort of slide back even further now, and you're still letting your attention wander wherever it wants. But now, rather than labeling see, hear, or feel, we're going to let go of the label and we're just going to focus on attention itself. And so you could use labels here, but you're noticing whether attention is narrow or wide. You're noticing whether your attention is jumping all over the place or is staying relatively still. You're noticing if your attention is moving in a gentle, smooth, legato kind of way, or if your attention is moving in a sharp, jumpy kind of way. So narrow and wide. Does my attention jump in and just really focus in on the sound of the fire? Or is it a little wider and it's like, oh, I'm hearing the sound of the fire and I'm hearing the plane in the sky at the same time? It's a wider kind of attention. And you don't have to get it right, you just notice. Notice as it narrows and widens, just like the breath comes in and out. Notice as it moves left and right, just like the breath comes in and out. Notice how it moves. And you can also notice the quality of attention. Does the attention feel clear and sharp or muddy? Does the attention feel effortful or not effortful? There's other things you can notice about your attention. But you're letting go of the sort of normal objects of attention. At first, you'll keep getting sucked back into noticing sensory qualities. And this is like a different level of concentration now. You just want to slowly be almost letting go of the world in a way. You're just letting your attention float over the world without the world causing any friction to the attention. It doesn't catch your attention. Or if it does, you're just noticing how the attention contracts and then how it releases without judgment. So there's all the normal ways we can get distracted here. But so when we notice we're lost in a thought or something, we're not anymore moving our attention back to anything. We're just noticing what our attention is like as it's lost in the thought and as it transitions into that awakeness. This is a more subtle thing. And if it's too subtle and you keep just getting lost and thinking about it, then go back a step and go back to open awareness, or even go back to the breath on the belly until you can come back up and get more subtle. Because this is still a kind of concentration task. But now we're concentrating on something very um, as close to the formless as you can get without it being actually formless. It is the sort of shape we give our awareness to make it into an attention. you're having trouble finding your attention, like you're just like, what's my attention? Just notice what in awareness is not in your attention, and you'll start to notice the boundaries of your attention, right? Start to notice. Now, the second you go, well, that's not my attention, your attention moves to that thing, but that will start to wake you up to the way that your attention is selecting your awareness, selecting what parts of the awareness are going to be interesting to you. Your awareness right now takes in everything, all the senses right now, without preference. Your attention has a preference to what it looks at. And eventually, with this practice, there will be kind of a dissolving of that preference. Eventually, it could happen any moment. There's a sort of falling back into just being awareness. And you may notice the pure stillness of awareness. Stillness, awareness is not constantly evaluating and selecting, it's just taking it all in equally. And that takes some time with this practice, but it is the ultimate culmination of the practice. And just as the mind getting quiet is a kind of side effect of mindfulness, attention dissolving is a kind of side effect of this mindfulness, of this attention. Now, we can encourage that a little bit by shifting into this last practice, which is choiceless awareness, or my teacher Shinzen Young calls it doing nothing. That's very Zen. My teacher Adyashanti calls it true meditation. And why is it true meditation? Because no longer are you the meditator. You're moving towards, it's almost like you're being meditated. Meditation is happening, but you're not making it happen. To make this practice more concrete, you can just notice. So now use your attention to notice doing and let go of that doing. Or, so that would be the practice. You notice a doing. I was thinking or trying to do something, and then you just let go of that doing. And you just keep doing that. That would be sort of the way Shinzen would teach it. You can try that, or you can just try and sit and do nothing. Just let go of all effort and let yourself coast through time. When you're doing nothing, see, hear, and feel keep happening. You're just not doing anything to it, anything at all. Just let go of the entire struggle and just be here. Still, stillness is a side effect of doing nothing. It is not doing nothing itself. The mind can be as noisy as anything, and you could still be doing nothing. Just imagine the mind is a stranger on the bus ranting away. And you don't need to pay attention. A way to think of this is we're focusing on the rest of the doer, or just the resting state of the doer. And just like we focus on rest in sound or rest in sight or rest in our body, here we're focusing on what does it feel like when the doer rests. And if you're struggling really hard to make the doer rest, stop doing that. Stop doing that. You are safe right now. No one is evaluating your performance. You do not need to accomplish anything right now. You have a couple more minutes here where literally nothing has to be done. You just get to be here. You just get to be alive. Six more seconds. Do even less. Effort even less. Allow your inner self to go limp. Let the judger, the doer, the struggler, the chooser relax. Okay, so the meditation is now over. Notice how quickly you reconstitute yourself. It doesn't mean, notice how quickly you move. For most of us, once we start moving, we'll reconstitute the self, but over time, you'll start to realize that the self can move, the body can move, and you don't have to be doing it. You can just watch the body move. It's actually a big part of Zen mindfulness, which we didn't go into here in this class, is action. Action is another thing we can be mindful of. The doer, the wanter, and the person that the thing that actually is moved in the body, and to move without effort is a possibility. So take that into the next few moments. As always, reminding your body that stillness is not preferred. You are allowed to move however you want and however feels good. Give your body some love. Give your heart some love. And just take a sense of effortlessness and just see how can I put that little taste of effortlessness into the rest of my day.